Hello, everyone, and welcome to the grand finals of EGFH Season 2. Today, we are live at UConn, and we are going to start it off with a best of three in League of Legends between the Woodstock Academy Centaurs and the St. Thomas More Chancellors. I want to thank our sponsors, the UConn Gaming Club, the UConn School of Engineering, the New York Excelsior, and Mob Crush for making this amazing season possible. Now, to get into the game, I am Victor Vic Sharplotny, and for this grand finals bout, I am joined by Matthew Toxic Gerbil Merrick.
Hello. In this match today, we're going to start out with the Centaurs on blue side banning and picking first, and the Chancellors on red side banning and picking second. As we get into this draft phase, Victor being banned out, I know Dreamy L plays a lot of Victors, so that could be a target ban on top of Victor just being a really meta champion in general.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit before, Toxic. You mentioned Dreamy had some, the Victor God so far in the season. When he has gotten to play it, it is the flex, but you have to feel that if the Chancellors got that, it would have been going mid. And we're just seeing Vladimir and Lee Sin to round it out. It does leave Aatrox open. And Toxic Gerbil, we saw this in the semifinals for the Centaurs. Angry YZ popped off.
Yeah, Aatrox is just an incredibly strong pick. It is something you can flex between top and mid, but it does seem like Angry YZ really does love that pick, and he definitely has a lot of carry potential if it goes to him. So I want to see if Dreamy L has something planned to beat it, or if they're just gonna let it ride and hope it all works out.
Oh, I love this gauntlet being thrown down early by the Chancellors, though.
Yeah.
Fiora Jarvan, first two picks.
Yeah, Fiora saying, if that Aatrox goes top, you're going to need to outplay me. I'm going to riposte your telegraphed cues. I'm going to get that stun. I'm going to run circles around you. Almost daring them to send the Aatrox top into that really skill-based matchup.
Now, Toxic, though, I feel worried about this because they traded Lucian Thresh for it. And one thing we've seen constant with all the preseason changes, Lucian is still the king of the bot lane.
Yeah, I think that Lucian is a very strong AD carry, and he is paired fairly well with Thresh, but I think Braum is a better pair, and I also think that Lucian has a lot more counterplay now that we have Dark Harvest in the bot lane. He is a champion that needs to get that all in, and if you pick a bot lane that can just be safe and poke him out, it could work very well. And with how strong Dark Harvest is, it's easier than ever to just poke out Lucians in the bot lane. What I do want to see from this Lucian, though, I want to see if he takes Kleptomancy, because the recent changes to Kleptomancy made it so that every time Lucian procs it on his passive, he gets double the procs that he would have before, and it allows him to like mass produce gold and just print money and get a huge lead at the trade-off of some early pressure and damage.
Yeah, and we've seen the second round of bans come out. Yasuo and Camille banned by the Chancellors. Meanwhile, Morgana and still thinking there's going to be a zillion banned by the Centaurs. I do like those bans from the Chancellors because you kind of doesn't matter now where the Aatrox goes. You take the Yasuo away if the Aatrox goes top lane, but you
Yeah,
take the Camille away as a jungle pick or a top lane pick.
yeah, it's a very flex pick ban. It's a very flexible ban to counter the flex pick from the side of the Centaurs. So I do think that was pretty smart of them to ban out champions like that, where they could fill a number of different roles and they're covering all their bases with their bans.
Kaisa locked in from the Chancellors right before we get a chance to talk about these Centaur picks.
Yeah.
That's a pretty aggressive AD carry to counter the Lucian.
It is. In fact, I think that Lucian is typically known as being the counter to Kaisa. We saw this at Worlds. That's why Lucian became so popular in the first place, was as a counter pick to Kaisa. And with a Tom Kench, the Kaisa definitely has the potential to scale up and outscale the Lucian. But if they start falling behind in the early game, it could go really poorly for them. Kaisa just not being able to keep up with the 1v1 and 2v2 pressure that the Lucian has. But I would like to say that the Centaurs very clearly wanted a good bot lane. Both of their support bans were on very safe supports. Morgana, who can just black shield the hook and nullify Thresh, and the Zillion, who can revive his teammate after they get all in. And the Chancellors still end up with an incredibly safe support to keep that Kaisa alive and let them scale up into the late game. Everyone on the side of the Chancellors with really great scaling. Uh, as opposed to the Centaurs, who they have the Jax, they have the Aatrox, but the Lucian can definitely start to fall off later on. The Sejuani has a really strong mid game, but after that, she's mostly just a tank. So they may have trouble keeping up if this game starts going into like the 40-45 minute range.
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling that the Centaurs, this is their bread and butter mid game comp that we saw them really dominate with in the playoffs so far. And you were talking about that Morgana band. It actually does even more for the Centaurs when you're thinking about them picking something like the Sejuani, because those black shields can be so key. But as you said, the Chancellors get just as good of an answer. If you're not
Yeah,
ulting the Tom Kench, it's so easy to pull away from the Sejuani.
yeah. I really like the Tom Kench pick from the side of the Chancellors. There's a lot of go buttons and hard engage from the Centaurs, and Tom Kench is one of the best champions in the game, but just completely nullifying that. Um, other Another really good synergy for the side of the Chancellors is the Oriana Jarvan combo can potentially be incredibly devastating for the side of the Chancellors. However, there is a lot of mobility to dodge out that combo, so it's going to be very skill based and positioning based on whether or not they can actually execute and get that huge damage wombo combo off onto the Centaurs, or if the Centaurs will be able to use their mobility and get out of the way before they just lose the fight instantly.
Yeah, I really want to watch how ZBJB uses that Jarvan ultimate, not just for an Oriana ball delivery, but you're
Mhm.
talking about disengage tools with Tom Kench. Jarvan ult can be used as a disengage tool because can go in with it and then just
Mhm.
flag out and can
Yeah,
really split up a fight.
yeah, it's very strong, but if you look at the side of the Chancellors, every character on their team except for Thresh can just get out of uh the the jail, I'll call it, the ult from Jarvan really easily. Most of them just having relatively low cooldown dashes and jumps means that the Jarvan's gonna have to work pretty hard to find a solid ult that really traps people, instead of just using it for damage.
And Toxic, we've looked at the jungle a little bit. We've kind of looked at the macro a lot. What are we expecting from this top lane? That is an Ignite Jax
This
against
is
the Teleport Fiora.
this is a really skill-based top lane. It's one of the things I like to see. Fiora's Riposte is one of my favorite abilities in the game because it's just so full of mind games, especially when you use it against Jax's Counter Strike, which has variable timing on when it CCs. So whenever Jax presses Counter Strike, there's always going to be cogs churning in both of their heads, thinking, when do I counter strike? When do I go for the stun? And the Fiora is thinking, when is he gonna go for the stun and when am I gonna riposte it? And you can try to wait out the riposte. You can try to stun early so that he doesn't riposte in time. And it's just such an incredibly skill-based matchup that it can really go both ways depending on how good the individual players are playing. And especially if junglers come up and influence it, it could be very volatile.
Absolutely. And as the spectator delay ticks down, we are going to get into the loading screen for this first game. Mind games may be the key to game one from both teams with Jarvan
Definitely could be,
Ultimate,
yeah.
with Counter Strikes. And we get to see now, do we get any of those Dark Harvest? And I think for the first time on this preseason, I've seen
None.
zero.
Yeah. Uh, no Dark Harvests. I would like to see that coming out from the Aatrox and the Jarvan. Electrocute's a rune you want to take on champions who get that early pressure and look for those early kills. And I don't think either of them really need that as much as they want to just be able to scale up with that Dark Harvest and get those executions later on. Lucian taking press the attack instead of kleptomancy means he is going to stick with the game plan of going for that early lead in lane, getting that damage in lane on those all-in trades, and focusing less on getting those klepto procs and scaling up, which it's a much higher risk for potentially higher reward, especially looking at how safe this bot lane from the Chancellors potentially can be. He might just not get the press the attack value that he's really looking for.
Yeah, that press the attack
The
really
summoners
could
lifted.
make or break Ken getting those procs off. Where are we going to see early game pressure? Because both Sejuani and Jarvan, very strong level
Represent a
2, level
convenience
3
store.
ganking champions.
Mhm. I think there's going to be a lot of early pressure towards the mid lane and the top lane. Both the bot lanes are pretty safe. Thresh's Lantern and the Flay can really disengage, as well as Tom Kench just eating his AD carry and walking away. Another really great disengage tool. those aren't really that present in the mid lanes or the top lanes for either side. Orianna really relies on her flash and her barrier to get out of dangerous situations. There's not a whole lot she can do once you get on top of her. Same thing with Aatrox. He just has that dash and maybe he can fish for knockups. And then similarly, top side, they have a little bit more disengaged, but they're still not those crazy mobile champions until they start getting those points in their skills to lower the cooldowns. It's definitely easy to bait an important cooldown and then go for the gank on them and get that kill. So I think the junglers are going to be spending a lot of time in the top side jungle looking for plays in those two lanes and letting bot lane just sort of play out naturally.
Yeah, but we see red side start for both junglers in this game. Fairly expected. Neither of them really need that early blue buff, and red just helps with the clear so much.
Yeah.
It does get push advantage, though, for Mad Fluffy Cat if they're able to take advantage of it, and that could be key because the Kai'Sa doesn't have that early lane pressure like the Lucian does.
Yeah, being able to shove in that early wave, get it to reset once you have experience, and then being able to play safe is really nice. It gets you that level lead, it stops you from getting all end, and it could be good for helping them scale up as a fight breaks out here over the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, ZBJB wanted to try and contest this, but it's just going to be a smite from I Do Not Land Q. First kind of contact goes in favor of the Centaurs.
Yeah, definitely smart of ZBJB to just back off there. Sejuani has a lot more early damage, especially with that freeze that she has as a hook lands.
Yeah, they're going to get played back as well. Lucian's jumping in. That's a lot of damage traded, but the trade onto the support versus the AD carry, the Centaurs have to be feeling a little bit better about that trade as well.
Yeah, I would take half the health off of my support for half the health off the enemy AD carry every day. So that trade's very good for the side of the Centaurs, keeping your Lucian at a health advantage over the Kai'Sa, ensuring that if the next hook is probably going to be the one that forces summoner spells, unless Tahm Kench is really on point.
Well, and you also mentioned the fact that the AD carriers only have one pot, and that is now gone from Mad Fluffy Cat. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Thresh, Abner Shin not only has a potion, he has biscuits. He is completely fine getting back to full health and can do it again.
Yeah, as we see, he's already way out healed the Kai'Sa and staying a lot more healthy than she is. The trade going really well as another hook lands, but Kai'Sa just gets gobbled up and Tahm Kench walks away.
Luckily this time for the Chancellors, maybe they were level 2, but ZBJB not having some fun so far in this jungle as I Do Not Land Q goes in and steals the Raptors away quite cleanly. That's what lane pressure can do for a jungler.
Yeah, if we can look at the lanes, top lane and mid lane are both favoring. Oh, the really big trade going down there. Tahm Kench almost dying. Mad Fluffy Cat being smart, saving the heal though, knowing that they do not have the ability to actually kill CK Nature in that trade.
Yeah, but that's going to be definitely something to watch as we keep going here because of Abner Shin's hook accuracy to start this game.
Yeah, 3 for 3.
And we get a chance to kind of breathe and look at the rest of the lanes right now, and it's fairly even. We're seeing the Jax and the Fiora fairly even, about even CS, even if the wave is a little bit in Jax's favor size-wise. But meanwhile, Angry YZ is just going in onto Dreamy, getting a lot of damage, gets the barrier to come out, and that is already the advantage that this Aatrox is gathering.
Yeah, really good trade for Angry YZ there. Getting the chain onto Orianna, or Dreamy L not juking toward the side, so he gets pulled back in and has to barrier as punishment for it. Something Angry YZ's really happy about. He still has Ignite up, and he can definitely look for plays now that he has kill pressure with that really important summoner spell down from Orianna in the mid lane.
Well, and the benefit of this mid pressure as well as we once again see I Do Not Land Q going into ZBJB's jungle and just causing small havoc, small panic for this Jarvan. It's only about a 7 CS lead in the junglers, but that is without a back, I believe, from I Do Not Land Q. So it's just been Sejuani impacting the map without needing to gain.
Yeah, 7 CS lead, but I Do Not Land Q is up a level on ZBJB, meaning he can just go for really ambitious plays. As Fiora actually goes down to the top lane. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Talking.
Your Destiny with the Ignite, Fiora looked like he had, but didn't riposte the stun coming out. Now Dreamy might be falling down as well as Angry YZ picks one up. ZBJB can't even get a response in top lane, and in the blink of an eye, possibly small disaster for the Chancellors to start, is now Abnershin's going to press forward aggressively. He has I do not land Q. The hook is still possible. The play is going to come out. The flash from nature, but the Tomkinch is going to be hooked back. This should be the kill. Who is going to pick it up? I do not land Q. Has to flash away from the damage of Mad Fluffy Cat, but Snakeskin picks up a kill. 3-0 now to the Centaurs.
The Centaurs just blowing the game wide open. What was very even for a while. They just get 2 solo kills and then a really well executed gank coming in the bot lane gives them a 2,000 gold lead almost at 6 minutes. That's really devastating for the Chancellors, and they're gonna need to look to really find some way to start making it back into the game as the Centaurs look to get control over the Infernal Drake even before going back. Not what you like to see from the Chancellors.
Absolutely not. And another kind of effect from that kill top lane is Parker had to TP back to top lane. That is the global advantage that the Chancellors had in summoner spells, now gone for the next few minutes. And it can really impact, because that's about the right time for the Fiora to come forward for a big, maybe come behind gank, and that's not available now.
Yeah, teleport is definitely a very strong comeback tool, something that can turn a fight, and when you don't have it, when you're forced to use it to go to lane, to just try and stay even and not fall too far behind, you lose out on that tempo you have, and it just makes it so much harder to mount the comeback.
Yeah, and we just once again get a brief glimpse into Dreamy's hell of a mid lane to start this game. Down 9 CS, down health every time we look, and is level 6 now, so can maybe keep Angry YZ away a little bit better. But it's still not going to be fun, and Destiny's starting to get confidence as we see once again, I do not land Q, comes to the bot lane, doesn't get anything on the charge. The Tomkinch has already used the eat and is going to get hooked away, does have the gray health, is going to proc it now. Angry YZ is down here as well. If they want to go for something, the Aatrox is going to proc the World Ender, try and go into the tower dive. They get Mad Fluffy Cat, but it is I do not land Q. Tanking tower is going to be the first casualty of the fight. The Tomkinch is going to fall as well, but Snakeskin taken very low. Mad Fluffy Cat might try and turn this. Abnershin trying to hook or play out of tower range, but this is a Kaisa. Kaisa's getting the turn, isn't going to quite fall to the Lucian ultimate. Trades back. Angry YZ now is going to pick up a third kill, but 2 for 2 when all is said and done in the bot lane.
Yeah, when you're behind, you love taking those trades. If you think about ratios of like total gold, if you have less gold than the opponent, getting an even trade increases the percent of your gold that you had more than it increases the enemy's percent. So you're always happy when you're behind to be taking 2 for 2s like that and just trying to get some more gold in your pockets to start working on making that comeback happen.
And another key from that is we're going to see the top lane fight. The flash in, the stun is going to land, and your Destiny with the outplay. ZBJB is just forced to flag and drag over the wall. I was going to say the good thing for ZBJB, got into the enemy jungle, got some counter jungling of your own, but once again, Parker falls.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the entirety of that trade, but I definitely never saw Parker use his riposte there, and that would be the second time he's died. Oh, the huge trade onto Dreamyell just kills him.
Yeah, Angry YZ just feeling so confident now. Good guy mid laner, letting Sejuani get the kill. But
yeah, Angry YZ just running down Dreamyell, not letting Dreamy really play the game all that much.
But we see Toxic 3,000 gold nearly at 10 minutes. These turret plates are starting to fall, and that's just more gold in the pockets of the Centaurs. What do the Chancellors need to do to stabilize this game?
They really need to kill Aatrox. As you can see, he's sitting on a 600 gold shutdown. That's like 2 extra kills for killing him, basically. He's worth double the normal value right now, and if you can get that kill onto someone like your Kaisa or your Fiora or even your Orianna, who is also really behind, you can make stuff happen, but a dive comes out mid lane.
Yeah, is Dreamy gonna try and get away, uses the ultimate. The World Ender is gonna come out from Angry YZ to stay alive. Meanwhile, a fight in the bot lane as well. Abnershin's gonna miss the play, but they are just chasing down this Orianna. It should be a matter of time. I do not land Q is going to get the knockup, get the kill, and it was some fancy footwork, but it's not enough as the hook is going to land as well. They might go in on it as The Kai'Sa is able to get away. That's a lot of damage though. Bot lane shut down in the mid lane. Fights all over the place. Toxic because Mad Fluffy Cat is gonna take down the Thresh, still not fall. Snakeskin picks up the return kill and is trying to chase down the Tahm Kench. The Grey Health is gonna be procced. The flash should be enough, but ZBJB and I Do Not Land Q have found themselves in the jungle as the entire map has just blown apart. Top lane with a fight as well. And I think we have a chance to breathe.
Yeah, just really long trades, fights going on across the entire map. Dream Yell dropping the Angry YZ, but blowing some important cooldowns from I Do Not Land Q and Angry Z while he dies means that ZBJB is able to come in and clean up that important shutdown on Angry YZ that I was talking about. He's 1-0, he has that big shutdown gold. ZBJB now has an opening to get back into the game. At the same time, the fight broke out bot lane, and Kai'Sa was able to get a trade kill, but Lucian doing a lot more with that immediate gold than the Kai'Sa is means that Lucian's probably more happy about that play. He has those earlier power spikes that allow him to abuse Kai'Sa a lot more on even gold. So he's going to have really strong mid-game pressure with his 202 stat line, even though Kai'Sa is 3-2-0 in her own right, especially when he's up almost 30 CS.
Yeah, and Dreamy just once again getting dove onto Angry YZ. They did pick up the kill into the Aatrox, so they did get one shutdown, but now you can look down, you see 3 more on the board as the hook's not going to land. Attempted bad life there
the
for
first one I've
Aftershin.
seen him miss. So, you take those sometimes. You can't hit every hook.
And one thing to note also, we're starting to see in this top lane a little bit, Parker is getting the ability to fight back a little more with that Tiamat completed and no Triforce yet from your Destiny. The trades, they're still even, but they're more even for Parker than they have been.
Yeah, you mentioned the Triforce actually. I'm not positive on my math here, but I'm pretty sure Jax actually has the gold to pick it up. Oh.
Yep, as we see Dreamy just once again jumped on. The ultimate from I Do Not Land Q is going to hit. The pullback might keep Dreamy alive, but not quite. And Angry YZ gonna get resurrected to get the health back. Yet another kill for this Aatrox.
Yeah, Dreamy L just really getting cyberbullied. I Do Not Land Q always there, even just losing the straight 1v1s to Angry YZ as the Centaurs look to take this pretty free Infernal Drake with Dreamy L dead in the mid lane.
Yeah, Infernal Drake, 3k gold lead, 10-4 on the kill score, and mid tower sitting under half health. Top tower starting to take some damage, and the towers for the Centaurs still relatively healthy. This has to be the way they wanted this early game to go.
Yeah, they haven't lost a single bar of plating to the Chancellors, while they've gotten 1 in the bot lane and 3 in the mid lane for themselves. Up 3,000 gold, a really crazy lead to have at 13 minutes. The Infernal Drake really helping them. Jax, Aatrox, and Lucian all scaling incredibly well with Infernals, as a really good trade gets dropped onto CK Nature there.
Yeah, I would like to see CK Nature maybe proc that Grey Health a little sooner there. It does maybe increase your risk of death, but it means you can stay in this lane a little bit more. As we're seeing the Tahm Kench considering backing away. Sejuani's there. There's pings. I think we might be set up for a dive here.
Aatrox walking down too in case 3 wasn't enough.
And they're chunking down the turret. They're going to look for it. Sejuani's coming in from behind them. CK Nature is the first target. Does have the Grey Health, but isn't going to get a chance to proc it. I Do Not Land Q is not going to fall to the tower on the smallest of health. Angry YZ just barely is able to proc World Ender and get it there. CVJB comes in with the flash, with the flag and drag, get the shutdown kill, and now the Centaurs are having to turn tail and run away. The dive goes 1 for 1, but shut down over to the Chancellor.
Yeah, when you commit that many resources to the dive, you really don't want it going 1 for 1. It definitely wasn't cleanly executed. Lucian tanking turret aggro first meant that he had to back out and miss out on some DPS. The aggro going onto the Sejuani next, she is not that tanky yet. She might have the Synth in the boots, but she really can't tank turret for that long, and she just tanks too many hits, allowing ZBJB to come in and clean him up. And get that shutdown for himself. 2-0-0, picked up multiple shutdowns. ZBJB looking very strong relative to the rest of his team. And, like, if anyone's going to carry this game, it's probably going to be him at this rate for the side of the Chancellors.
And we maybe see that in the build here from ZBJB with the Warrior and the Tiamat not going any kind of recognizable tank, but has to maybe make up for it because that is an Angry YZ on an item and a half versus components from Dreamy.
Yeah, not even synergistic components. They don't even build into the same item. He's got half a Ludens and half an Hourglass. Dreamy L not really making up his mind and getting punished for it. He's going to be weak for a long time as he just sits on components and can't finish an item.
Yeah, and we're seeing that in the wave pressure. It is a 11 CS lead for Angry YZ, and Abner Shin just has so much control of this bot lane with that hook pressure. It's just all kind of in favor of the Centaurs, but as we're approaching 16 minutes, maybe needing to speed it up a little bit as I do not win Q back towards the bot lane. It's going to get found out and forced to hightail it out of there.
Yeah, it's running away. I feel like if you're the Chancellors, asserting dominance over a control ward is probably not making you feel too amazing if that's the accomplishment you're proud of, but it is something. They were able to defend something of theirs. It shows they're not completely out of the game.
And we might have a fight over that same pink point. The ult is going to miss from I Do Not Link Q. The Thresh Box has gone down, but as a 3-man knockup and ultimate from ZBJB, but not tanky enough to survive it, is going to fall. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Parker gets taken down. We do see I Do Not Link Q taken down for it, but the Aatrox picks up Mad Fluffy Cat. It is going to fall to the Tom Kinch. Can Dreamy turn this? It's just the Lucian on flashing health and Thresh. The Orianna out of mana is going to try and get something, gets hooked. They're going to try and turn it, and the turnaround from Snakeskin picks up the kill.
Yeah, almost a really bad play from the side of the Centaurs. Everyone leaving with low health, but they are able to clean up the last kills from the side of the Chancellors. A solo kill going off in the top lane for UR Destiny, and the Orianna very crucially running out of mana, or else she would have been able to get an extra double kill at the end of the fight for herself probably. Means that the Centaurs do walk out on top of that exchange over the Chancellors, getting their... I don't actually know if Jarvan had a shutdown. But if he did, getting that shutdown gold on him, getting him off the map, stopping him from getting further ahead. Even though he had that amazing ultimate, there just wasn't follow-up for ZBJB. So he goes in, gets a lot of damage, but can't clean anything up and just dies for it.
Yeah, trying to defend this mid tower is frugal as well. As gonna fall, Your Destiny is on a rampage. They're trying to chase down the Jax, trying to get back to the Lantern. It is not gonna happen. It is a shutdown to Dreamy L. However,
very big shutdown to Dreamy L.
3 towers are down. All the outers have fallen. And I don't think this fight's gonna be quite over yet, as this is 4-man strong pushing down the mid lane. They are just gonna back away for a pink ward.
Yeah, looks like they should be going to go posture around Dragon, but even with the pick, I really don't know if they can take the Dragon 4v5, or 4v4 even. I forgot ZBJB died in that exchange. So they are just going to play around for vision, posture around the Dragon, and the Centaurs look like they're pinging, like, they're just going to take the Dragon. The Chancellor's not with a whole lot of time to contest here. I don't even know if they're going to be able to stop them, or if the Centaurs are just going to get out cleanly.
Yeah, and we see Parker just trying to duel Angry YZ, but that Aatrox is not in duel range for the Fiora right now. They are going to get the Dragon, and they're going to turn for the fight, as now Parker is too far forward, is going to be the first casualty as Snakeskin picks up the kill. The hook is going to hit onto ZBJB. It is a 4-man ultimate from DBL, and they're turning the fight around. The World Ender is already down. Can they chase down Angry YZ? They cannot, but still 3 kills for the Chancellors. They lose the Drake, but they win the fight.
Yeah, they lose the Dragon and their Fiora. Fiora really not worth that much gold anymore, but a huge fight for them. Fiora Destiny's 1v3, 1v4.
Yeah, he's going to try and maybe turn this, but he is going to slowly get chunked down. He should fall here. He's going to be able to jump away. That might be enough as CK Nature taking the tower, procs the Grey Health. Your Destiny wants this fight. He knows it's a support, knows the Grey Health is done, and Your Destiny gets the shut down to get something from the Centaurs and keep the gold lead about 4K.
Yeah, really well played by Your Destiny. The ult making him really deceptively tanky there, allowing him to kite out the 1v4. Tom Ken shot CK Nature getting a little greedy, going a little too deep, and dying as punishment for it. Just handing over another kill to Your Destiny. 5-1-0, 164 farm. Really putting in a lot of work for his team this game. Though I guess everyone on the Centaurs is putting in a lot of work this game, so...
Yeah, it is also important to note from that dragon fight, it was a 950 gold shutdown, I believe, on Snakeskin. That
Yeah.
can be insanely important.
Yeah, that is a lot of gold that the Centaurs did not want to hand over, and it definitely gives some hope for the Chancellors. However, they are still down for 3.5, I'll call it, thousand gold. I'll be a little optimistic for the Chancellors. They're down 3.5 thousand gold still. Parker stands no chance fighting Gear Destiny. Can't match the split push, but
Yeah,
maybe
and
3 people can. Who knows?
CK Nature has come up, but the rest of the Centaurs are here as well. I do not land Q. This is the ultimate, and it is CK Nature proccing the Great House at the last minute, but now they've jumped onto Parker. It is a 4-man ultimate and a 3-man ultimate as well from Dreamy, and this is the turn. The team fight is online for the Chancellors.
Well, I talked about it in Champ Select. That is the second time the Jarvan Orianna combo has put in amazing work for the Chancellors as they look to take Baron. Angry YZ, the only surviving member on the bot side of the map. No one is here to contest the Baron, and it looks like it's going to be free for the Chancellors. Exactly what they need to start mounting this comeback into the game. The gold gap already closing, down to only 1,500 from the 3.5 it just was before this play.
Yeah, and Angry YZ trying to go on to CK Nature is going to proc the World Ender, is going to pick up the kill, is resurrected. Baron does fall, as you said, but Angry YZ is going to be able to trade it with the bottom lane tier 2 tower. It's not the best trade for the Centaurs that they could have hoped for, but in this situation, they will be happy with Baron off of the Tahm Kench and a tower.
Yeah. Uh, I guess there's not a whole lot Angry YZ could have done to shut down the Baron take from happening. So he is glad he gets that trade kill and he gets the tower, but the Centaurs are really not happy about losing Baron when they're so ahead. If anything, the Chancellors might even be less happy about getting Baron and just more happy that the Centaurs don't have it. They have more time to scale up, get more of those Jarvan Orianna Wombo combos, and just win more team fights for themselves to keep themselves in this game.
Well, and the big thing is now the gold, only 700 here. Orianna now on 2 completed items. The
Yeah.
Fiora is still just buying components from Parker, but the Fiora doesn't need to do a whole lot right now. Maybe provide some appetizing bait for the Jarvan Orianna combo.
Yeah, if you actually look at the KDs on the side of the Chancellors, they're looking a lot better than they were before. Fiora's not great, but your Jarvan, 329, your 539 Kaisa, the kills landing onto the carries, the shutdowns landing onto the carries, mean that the Chancellors are mounting a comeback. The gold basically equalized. They have Baron buff. They're still down. Actually, they're not even down EXP anymore, really. The game all of a sudden looking really amazing for the Chancellors here as they start taking towers, getting a gold lead for themselves, the first one they've had this game, as they keep pushing, forcing a culling out of Lucian just to clear the wave.
Yeah, and you're starting to finally see that damage coming out from Dreamy. And with the cannon minion alive, they're just chunking down the members of the Centaurs. The Chancellors feel like they are in control of this game for the first time in really this 23-minute tilt, and we're kind of seeing I do not land Q is just slowly getting taken further and further down by Parker. Second tower is going to fall, both the mid lane towers down. This might be aggressive to force towards the inhib tower as all members are. The hook is going to land onto, I believe that was actually Dreamy, but I do not land Q, has to flash away from the shockwave. That ultimate is down. So there is no combo, but it is going to be I do not land Q's flash. The tower is held though.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I wish I had one of those Baron power play overlays that they have in the LCS, because oh my god, this Baron has been absolutely huge for the Chancellors. Not just keeping them in the game, putting them in the lead, giving them control over the game. After that amazing quad kill in the top lane, it's just looking so good. If you told me this was what the game would look like 10 minutes ago, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought this game would be over at this point for the side of the Chancellors getting closed out on, not the other way around.
Yeah, and CK Nature gonna possibly be found out though. The hook is gonna land from Abner's Shin. This is only an Ocean Drake, so I feel like the Centaurs will be happy to give this away considering they have double Infernal. and we're going to see they're pushing towards mid. They want to make this a trade. It will be an air Drake coming up next. No minions, however. Top lane, your Destiny. This is what Jax does best. Toxic at the 26-minute mark, just thunking sounds as towers fall.
Yeah, a macro misplay from the side of the Chancellors, greeting a little bit for the Drake, and the fight breaks out too.
Yeah, ZBJB getting caught out. I do not like Q's going to pick up the kill. I believe that was also Parker that was in that little bush that just got collapsed on. I don't think they even anticipated that happening.
Yeah, really big macro mistake, getting caught out after the dragon, even going for the dragon in the first place, losing your top tower for just an ocean streak at 25 minutes, definitely not worth it. The Chancellors had the gold lead, but they still need to take reserve as a...
Yeah, the ult's gonna hit on Parker, the riposte comes out, and they...
Nothing major coming out of it.
Yeah, so you still see map pressure is still clearly in favor of the Centaurs. These split push threats from Aatrox and Jax. The 1-3-1 is very hard to defend. What do the Chancellors need to do to continue extending this game for maybe another 10 more minutes until they feel like they're actually ahead?
You just need to get the hard engages. You have the Jarvan Orianna combo. You have a lot of good hard engage in your comp if you're the Chancellors. And the best way to deal with 1-3-1, no one on the Chancellors can match either of the solo pushers. So you just need to group as 5, run it down mid lane. You have to accept the fact that you're going to lose side lane objectives. But if you can take more in the mid lane than you lose on the sides, there's only 3 people mid. It's a 3v5. So if you can just force that fight and force the commitment, that's how you beat the 1-3-1. So I'd like to see the Chancellors going for those plays and not just slowly bleeding out objectives on the sides.
Yeah, and it looks like they might be trying to force around mid a little bit more, as they might have caught Abner Shin. He's a little far forward, has to flash away pretty much just from CK Nature, but with ZBJB lurking, you cannot risk that if you're the Thresh.
Yeah. A good pick to get out. Flash is a very important summoner spell on Thresh, especially it gives him so much playmaking potential, flash hooks, flash plays, that him not having that does relieve a lot of pressure from the Chancellors, but the Chancellors don't want to be relieving pressure. They want to be the ones applying pressure. So it's a step in the right direction, but they're still on the back foot.
And thing to note, 10 seconds till that Baron comes up. There's a lot of items on the board. There's a lot of gold. We talked about Dreamy's early game. All of a sudden, a 700 gold bounty on this Orianna because of the last couple of fights. We want to see a 5v5 fight if you're the Chancellors. No better place to do it than the Baron pit if they can force the Centaurs there.
Yeah, this next Baron is almost certainly going to decide the game one way or the other. Whoever wins the fight is going to get the Baron, is going to get the objectives, probably going to get at least one inhibitor. It's going to be huge as a 2v1 comes out topside.
Yeah, they're trying to go into your Destiny. The ultimate proc from the Fiora. The stun's going to come through, a beautiful riposte, but ZBJB is taken out. Your Destiny flashes away, is trying to get out of this, has procced the Steris Gauge, is not able to get out of it. Mid tower is going to fall as I do not land Q, lands the ultimate, but Tom Kinch is there to deny the damage. It is 2 towers going down. Aatrox is in the bot lane pushing as well at the inhibitor. They may have killed the Jax, but they lost all of the objectives.
Yeah, they forced a lot topside, but now you have the Jax dead, so you want to look for Baron, but you don't have your jungler up. It's really awkward. The best they can do is just try to shove out lanes, maybe get a tower topside or something while they have a slight advantage on the map, but that's a lot of objectives to lose just for one Jax kill. But it is just so hard to find good plays for the Chancellors here. So much pressure is being applied to them in every lane. If you commit any resources toward one side, you just always lose something somewhere else.
Yeah, and Parker going in on Abner Shin, maybe accidentally finding out the Thresh. It's going to get hooked. I do not land Q is there, and this is a bad fight for the Chancellors as Orianna gets taken out immediately. Now Parker is trying to turn this fight, but is in the middle of 3 members. The riposte isn't going to get much. Meanwhile, the World Ender forces the resurrection from Angry YZ. Parker finds him, is able to get the kill. They can maybe turn this as Abner Shin is there. The Kaisa is still around, but your Destiny comes jumping in, gets a stun onto CBJB, jumps onto Parker and takes down the Fiora, and now Mad Puppy Guy gets ulted. Tom Kinch was not close enough. It's a double kill, and Sejuani picks up another 5 for 1, and Baron over to the Centaurs.
Almost so close to being a good fight for the Chancellors. Getting that pick on the Angry YZ, keeping your Fiora alive, But you are Destiny, just such a monster, unkillable, level 17, able to come in, finish off the Fiora, force the fight onto the rest of the Chancellors, buying time for the rest of his team to show up to the fight to back him up, and just running down all of the Chancellors, getting the clean ace, getting the Baron, putting themselves back ahead 4,500 gold. A huge lead again for the Centaurs as they have Baron and they're going to look to run down mid lane and start cracking open the base and really finishing the game.
Yeah, and you talked about that fight for the second Baron. It went fairly cleanly in favor of the Centaurs, and Air Drake is up. It's kind of a consolation prize for whichever team gets it, but it is at least another objective for the Centaurs to take off of the map.
Yeah, I almost feel like if I'm the centers, I say I don't even care about an Air Drake. I want him to get as much use out of this Baron buff as possible, and I just run down mid lane. A small detour for the Air Drake, obviously not going to hurt, but I would have liked to see them just staying in the mid lane and maximizing how much pressure they get as Baron buff as Aatrox engages.
Yeah, they're going to go for the fight. The Flash already out of Dreamy, and that was just for pretty much the Ghost Blade proc from Angry YZ.
And the ult from Angry YZ. You have to keep that in mind. That's a very important team fight ultimate to not
Absolutely.
have.
Having the Guardian Angel, though, at least gives Aatrox another life if the Aatrox so needs it. And now they're just going to look to siege up the top lane. We're going to see Abner Shin clear the vision out. This team has kind of opted away from the 1-3-1 with this Baron, instead going as a 5-man unit. It does mean they're not getting a whole lot out of it, though. They're just kind of running around, but they might be setting up a bit of a trap rush here. Abner Shin was considering it, but they're going to say not worth and just continue to waste Baron time.
Yeah, really not getting a whole lot of use out of this Baron. They have the ability to just straight win the 5v5s as long as they don't get comboed by Jarvan. And they're just not forcing the engages, playing really cautiously when they don't have to. And allowing the Chancellors to just run out the Centaur's Baron and stall even longer, wait for even more opportunities.
And this is what I like to see from them, however, as the Centaurs go back to that 1-3-1. You were doing it before the Baron. There is no reason to not continue it with those Baron minions. It's gonna drag the Chancellors to you, force them to not be able to do that 5v5 combo that they so desperately want. Now, Angry YZ does not have a Baron because of that fight, but ZBJB is taken solo, has to ult and flash away, but Angry YZ might not care. Procs the ultimate, is going to get the turn, though, as Dreamy falls because of a beautiful ultimate from I Do Not Land Q. Angry YZ doesn't get resurrected, I believe, but does still have the GA up. Top inhibitor falls as well, and they're continuing to push as your Destiny hops in onto Parker. It's going to get the stun, a lot of damage, procs the ignite, and Parker's health bar is flashing away, is going to die before Fountain, and now the Kai'Sa is the target, isn't going to fall quite yet. We do see Sejuani go down. Now Kai'Sa falls. The hook is going to hit on to the Tahm Kench. Aatrox dies to the Fountain, but it does not matter, as in 33 minutes, the game one goes over to the Centaurs.
Yeah, Chancellors closing it out. A really large mid-game stumble from them, but they're able to recover, keep the pressure up, wait out the Baron, get a Baron of their own, and just close out the game. Applying tons of pressure through the mid-game with their 1-3-1. Really strong picks, getting those early leads, and able to snowball it into a pretty quick 30-minute victory.
Yeah, the Centaurs absolutely being kind of dominant once they got their lead back in that first game. It does mean we are on to match point in this final. Stay tuned, as it will be the Chancellors on blue side trying to bring us to a game 3. Welcome
Hello?
back, everyone, after a quick break. Sorry about that, Toxic Gerbil, but I got your back. I'll give you a chance to talk about that game number 1, as we are into game number 2 of this best of 3 match point to Woodstock Academy. Can they take home the league title, or will St. Thomas More force a game 3? We didn't get too much chance to talk about that first game, Toxic Gerbil, but we're already seeing the adaptations.
Yeah, the Aatrox ban and the Jax ban. First two from the side of the Chancellors, really scared. They just did not know how to react, how to beat those picks. So they figured they just have to get them off the table and try to have some other strategy that's going to work for them this game. Not able to handle the pressure from the 1-3-1.
Yeah, and we'll have to see very similar bans still. Alistar, I believe, is a different ban. It compared to the first game. I noticed Victor is still up. We do have
Hmm.
to see our third ban, but I think if that stays up, that could be interesting. And
Yeah, the
Zillion banned away.
Zillion Band coming out could be the Victor lock-in for Dreamy. Who knows? Definitely the signature champ from what I've seen of him for him. So could be very interesting. The pocket pick to win the game two and keep them in it.
Now, what would you like to say as Darius the first login? Well, that's already a bit of another
That's
adaptation.
that is that is a bold move coming out from Parker. Definitely did not overperform in his last game, but you know what he's saying? I'm confident in my play. That game was a fluke. I'm going to pick this snowballing champion. I'm going to get the early kills this time, and I'm going to be able to carry my game. Really great to see from Parker, seeing he's not dissuaded from his performance last game and is able to keep a good mentality and stay confident in himself.
Yeah, Thresh and Aurelia locked in from the Centaurs. I thought maybe they'd go Thresh Lucian again, but that Aurelia is on the table this time after I believe being banned away in game
It
number one.
was.
So picking that up, I would like to see maybe a Lucian answer here from the Chancellors, but I also expect maybe a Victor pick as we see a Mumu being hovered. Sejuani though, I
Sejuani,
like
all right.
that.
Uh, Yeah, I like the pick a lot. I think Sejuani is a very strong champion, especially when you can be coordinated and competitive. But I do fear that ZBJB might be saying like we don't have enough bans. We need to get rid of Sejuani too, and it might not be ZBJB's most comfortable pick. But he's too afraid of the Centaurs getting it, and if that's the case, it could show some bad mentalities for the side of the Chancellors. But if ZBJB is practiced on, if he's able to perform, it is a very strong pick. As Dreamiel picks up his Victor, gonna try and put the team on his back and get work done.
And it is traded for the Lucian, so just a very comfortable. We saw Snakeskin and Abner Shin have a very strong bot lane with that. I do like the adaptations that have come out from the Chancellors so far. Like you said, Dreamiel, his early game, he didn't have the most fun there, but on Victor, your wave clear is a little bit better once you start getting your upgrades. I would imagine this is going to be Tom Kenshin Morgana bans on the side
Yeah.
of the Centaurs because they do not want that safety in the bot lane.
No, they want to have a lane that forces the opponent to go all in, and they just win the all in. Abner Shen hitting like every hook we saw him throw out. It was really crazy. His Thresh putting in so much work to set the Lucian up to get as fed as he did that game. And you call it the Morganic band coming out as the last band for the Centaurs, ensuring that it's going to be a bloody bot lane, whether the Chancellors like it or not.
Now, I do like these bans from the Chancellors as well, LeBlanc and Yasuo. So it is what we have seen Angry YZ play in the playoffs. Gone. Aatrox gone. Yasuo's gone. That could still be Aurelia mid lane. That is the beauty of the flex. And we'll see what they show. By showing the Camille, we still don't know where anything's going.
No, Camille could be a jungler or a top laner. A very open team comp from the side of the Centaurs. A bunch of picks that could really end up going anywhere. It makes it hard to counterpick. It makes it hard to build your composition when you don't even know where enemy champions are going to go. It puts the Chancellors in a hard spot as they pick their last champions here.
Yeah, and we know they need their bot lane. Kaisa is open still. Sivir, though, a safer pick can match the
Mhm.
wave clear once you start getting a few items. But Sivir, Leona, and Akali the Instalock, technically, we still don't know where these things are going. We'll just have to see
Yeah.
where they decide to leave them.
Looks like it's going to be Irelia top with Camille jungle and Akali mid. As the Centaurs start swapping around all their picks. A really, really aggressive from the side of the Centaurs, and a fairly equally aggressive composition from the side of the Chancellors. Darius, Sejuani, Leona, all pretty tanky, but all really like just running in and making the fight start. Um, Lucian Thresh again, but this time the bot lane from the side of the Chancellors is a lot more aggressive. It's not a Tom Kench and a Kaisa who just want to sit back and play safe. This Sivir Leona, they fight back. You go in on Leona, Leona goes back in on you. She gets that E, she gets that stun, she has that resistance in her W. It's one way or the other. It is going to be a scrappy bot lane. People are going to be dying.
And what I want to see, you mentioned the tank line for the Chancellors between Darius, Sejuani, Leona.
Mhm.
If that tank line can really get itself going, that
Yep.
could be a big decider of this game. Because if you look across to the Centaurs, they have a lot of damage,
Yeah.
but they can't win a really prolonged fight
Mhm.
because they're not really great on the tanks.
Yeah, they're not great on the tanks. Irelia, basically a tank. Let's just put that. She does everything with style. Uh, basically a tank, basically an assassin, basically an AD carry. She does everything. Uh, but yeah, no, other than that, there's not a whole lot of durability coming out from the side of the Centaurs. They do have a lot of deceptive sustain, though. Camille, her passive shield, her Sterax, Akali with so much healing, and Shroud giving her the ability to stall really effectively could mean that the Centaurs can stay in fights a lot longer than you'd think they'd be able to at first glance. One thing I do want to point out though is that Darius ult does true damage, which means Camille's passive shield will be blocking physical, will not beat it. Irelia's damage reduction, true damage goes straight through that. So the Darius, if he can get those stacks off and get ults, will be able to mitigate a lot of the durability that the Chancellors or the Centaurs have gotten to themselves. Both teams with C names makes it a little hard for me.
I do want to see another interesting interaction we could see. You mentioned the Akali Shroud. I want to see if CK Nature almost plays chicken with the Akali and says, "Put down your Shroud. I will put Leona Ultimate right on top of it."
The problem with that is like even if you hit the Leona ult on the Shroud, it's true invisibility. You're not going to be able to follow up on Leona ult, so it's sort of good to think about, right? And be like, oh, that would be really funny. But if you're CK Nature, what do you actually get off that? Mad Fluffy can't auto them. Like maybe you hit like a Darius Q on the stun Akali, but other than that, it's not really going to do that much. Akali Shroud is just such a good defensive ability that makes it so hard to get picks on her.
Yeah, it's really gonna have to see the team fighting nature of the Chancellors may have to come out here. We saw some really good team fights from them in game number one when they were able to claw their way back. But with 30 seconds going the delay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Game number two. Do we go to three or is this the end?
I think from the comps, I think I favor the Centaurs here to just take it all. They have a very aggressive comp that needs a lot of coordination and a lot of like macro skill to beat. It's probably going to be another 1-3-1 with Irelia split pushing one lane and Akali or Camille split pushing another. And as we saw in the last game, the Chancellors had a really hard time beating that. We talked a lot about how the Oriana Jarvan combo could have been so devastating, but you can't hit a four-man combo when there's only three people in a lane at any time. And there's a similar problem here where they want to get these team fights. They want to Sivir ult in, Leona ult in, run down the enemy team, but you're only going to get like three people, and then you're just going to be bleeding out objectives on the side the other time. Darius, a champion who potentially can match split pushes. Same thing with Victor, but it really just depends on who gets ahead early. And looking at last game, I think that the Centaurs just had the better raw mechanical skill that put them ahead early, and I think that's just going to happen again this game, where their split pushers are going to be better than the answers that the Chancellors have.
I will say, if this is the last game of the series, this might be the only series we're going to see all preseason that does not have a single
Not
dark.
one, yeah. Again, only one red rune coming out from the side of either team, and it's an electrocute on the Akali, looking for those early kills, not looking to stack up. Akali probably thinking, well, by the time my Dark Harvest out damages my electrocute, I'll be one-shotting people anyway. Don't worry about it.
And we're
Uh,
going to have to see. We see some maybe grouping up here from both teams. They're on the same side of the map, and that might always trigger some level one shenanigans as we're seeing Abner Shin leading the team around, looking towards what could be a hook.
Yeah, 5 men versus 5 men, though. I think the Chancellors have the advantage in the 1v1. They definitely have a range advantage. And Thresh, the only character with a really good 1v1.
Well, we're going to get it here, Dribble, as Abner Shin's going to throw out the hook. He's going to miss it. Camille goes in, but it is all the damage onto Snakeskin and CK Nature going for something. The Ignite ticking down. It will be first blood to Mad Fluffy Cat as the rest of the Centaurs have to turn tail and run. Their AD carry is done.
Yeah, not only do the Centaurs defend their buff, they get the first blood, and they get it on the Sivir. That's exactly who you want that first blood to go to. That late game scaling champion in the hard, bloody bot lane. Getting that early gold onto her is going to be incredibly important. One thing to mention though is that 3 summoner spells were burned from the side of the Chancellors, whereas only 1 was burned from the side of the Centaurs. So while you have that first blood from the Sivir, she doesn't actually get a chance to go back and spend the gold. So it's only after the first recall that she's even going to have advantage. And until then, no flash, no ignite on Leona means they are going to be pretty vulnerable in lane.
We'll have to see if that flash comes back to bite CK Nature, but it is also no flash on Snakeskins. So if ZBJB wants to go for it, that's a promising target for an early Sejuani gank. As Parker's flash being down, I don't think the biggest issue for the Darius in this lane, because yes, Camille can get some interesting gank paths, but Darius is rather kind of deceptively buffy in these early levels.
Yeah, especially when he starts that Doron shield. You get ganked, but you just get the E into the heal. You heal up, and you can just walk away from most hard engaged ganks early on. Darius is a champion that's very hard to kill early, as Thresh walks up looking for a hook.
Yeah, level 2 was hit by Abnershin, but Mad Fluffy Cat is going to get the spell shield off. The hook is going to go onto CK Nature, the only level 1 person remaining in this bot lane. It's a traded damage, but just like we saw in game 1, ADC for support.
Yeah, Abnershin playing that really well, saving his hook until after he sees... Oh, a huge hook there.
Mad Fluffy Cat has to burn the heal, is ignited, so Summoner trade, a lot of damage going back, but once again, the trade is ADC for support. We're gonna have to keep our eyes on bot lane because Abnershin has the hook on point. The spell shield is gonna come out, but CK Nature picks up the kill. AD carry for support traded. Camille's gonna jump in, not quite get the stun, take a tower shot. 1 for 1 in the bot lane as trades across the map. Your Destiny is gonna get jumped on, is trying to get away, but the flash away from Parker. The level up is gonna be enough. Your Destiny survives, and now that flash has been traded.
Oh my god. That's so scary if you're Destiny. I thought he was dead, but he gets the level up just in time to survive the bleed and manages to just so barely survive that trade. If he gets solo killed there, especially with Ignite not able to TP back to lane, it really would have been devastating for your Destiny.
And already in this early game, we're seeing it go so much better for the Chancellors. A 700 gold lead, 2-1. Their bot lane is down CS, but up pressure. And they're fine CSing this lane now. As I do not land Q and ZBJB have found each other. The stun is going to come out from the Camille. And now Parker, they go in. It flashes in for the kill. Your Destiny might fall as well, but it is going to be just safe enough. No one's going to get too interesting there, but another kill early for the Chancellors.
Yeah, the Chancellors maybe ghosting the stream here, trying to prove me wrong. I talked some smack about their mechanical skill, but they've really just been getting all the outplays this game. Really making the Centaurs look like they're on the back foot here. The Darius not even having an ignite, solo pressuring the top lane if they just get this free dive.
Yeah, your Destiny is going to go down. The Destiny is death as a stun onto the Akali. He's going to stop Angry YZ from going overly aggressive. Mana issues possibly for Dreamy though, as the early Victor levels can be very expensive. But across the map, 2k gold lead, much better for the Chancellors.
2k gold lead at 5 minutes is huge. 4-1, top lane up 12 CS already, a wave still under the tower, gold plating going over the Darius. He is a big boy.
Yeah, and we saw Dreamy did have to flash in the mid lane from I Do Not Land Q trying to gank again. It is interesting to note again with that, you mentioned the turret plating. That is more turret plating now than they got in the entire of game 1.
At least in the lane, yeah, that's one way to put it. Definitely very good to see if you're the side of the Chancellors. Plating just gonna let Darius snowball so hard. If you fall behind to a Darius, it just feels so bad trying to come back. Irelia just gonna get denied so much and have a really bad time this game unless she's able to get a good gank coming out from the Camille. But Darius, one of the best 2v1ers in the game, ganking him is so scary because sometimes you just give him 2 more kills.
Yeah, and it is interesting. We haven't looked at this bot lane very often because now Mad Fluffy Cat having safety, able to spell shield away Abner Shin's hooks, and the CS lead so in favor of the Lucian though.
Yeah, but
It
he is
was
about to pick up this wave. That's like almost half the CS lead gonna disappear just after this wave gets farmed for Mad Fluffy Cat if he hits everything. So it's sort of a deceptive number.
Yeah, but we'll have to see. The level advantage is not deceptive, however, as Snakeskin and Abner Shin have that advantage. They're looking to push this into tower. A lot of damage come through. The hook going onto the Leona. It is going to cross the Q from Snakeskin to miss. Sejuani's coming around the side, but Akali is coming down as well.
And the Camille.
Camille is here. They're going onto Snakeskin. The damage, the force to flash away. The hook comes out. The TP is coming in from Parker. They get the first kill onto Abner Shin, and now the fight is in full force as Mad Fluffy Cat picks up the Lucian, and now the Darius got canceled. The TP from Your Destiny didn't even realize it, and that is so bad for the Chancellors that it is 3 kills for the Centaurs.
Yeah, a huge cancel by Your Destiny on the Parker. If Your Destiny does not get that cancel, that's probably another double kill for Darius. At least one onto the Camille, almost certainly. But Your Destiny is able to get the cancel and turn it into a 3 for 2 on the bot lane, favoring the Centaurs. The gold lead down to 1,000. A really solid play that puts them a lot closer to being in an even game.
Yeah, and it was a really scrappy fight in the beginning. We saw all the people coming from different lanes, from mid, from the jungle, but it just, between the bot lanes, we talked about it in lane phase, or in draft, you really mentioned it, is this is a scrappy bot lane this time around, and they were showing deceptive tankiness as it took so long for members to start following.
Yeah, both sides have a lot of durability, especially with that aftershock on the supports. It makes it very hard to kill them. I would like to point out that, speaking of deceptive statistics, this gold lead might actually be a little more deceptive than it looks for the side of the Chancellors. 2 of those kills on the Leona, really not where you want to look at see them, but if you look at the side of the Centaurs, you have 2 on your Camille, 1 on your Akali, and 1 on your Lucian. So their carries have like all of their gold, whereas Leona's definitely taken a bit for herself, and that's not where you want it. You want it on those carries, on your Sivir, on your Victor.
Well, and another big thing about that fight that we keep coming back to, that was a big fight for I Do Not Land Q, because wasn't getting much work done with the early ganks, was really struggling, as we see just this trade in the top side, but ZBJB is there. That is not a 1v1, my friend, as Your Destiny falls.
Yeah, really amazing pathing from ZBJB here. Been in basically every fight, 6 out of 7 participation, just really huge, showing how much he's influencing this game and really carrying his team here.
Yeah, and Angry YZ said, you can influence the game, mid lane is still my kingdom. That was slick play from the Akali as they're gonna go in. The stun only hits Abner Shin from the Leona ult, and that gives Snakeskin time to try and get the damage. Is gonna possibly fall though, and Mad Fluffy Cat picks up another. They're gonna keep going in onto this Thresh, and they feel like they can. Abner Shin's gonna get the hook, but it might just buy time as it will be CK Nature 2 for 0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, really, really close fight in the bot lane. 1 auto attack away from Mad Fluffy Cat going down, and Lucian surviving, getting that Triumph Rock and turning on Leona. Really anyone's fight there, but the Chancellors do come out on top. Mad Fluffy Cat getting himself another kill there, but another one going on to Leona. Not what you love to see, but no matter how you cut it, a 2 for 0 is still a really good trade.
It will be interesting to see, though, with the bot lane is stabilized, gone back towards favor of the Chancellors. This mid lane, though, does still feel like Angry YZ's kingdom. So many tools to get around what the Victor can do. It's hard to stun an Akali when she can just jump over your stun range.
Yeah, so many dashes, so much mobility. Victor, our champion, we've seen a lot of power from recently, but it's all been from his point and click abilities. That Q been what's really been carrying Victor to be so strong in the current meta, and you can't Q Akali when she's in Shroud. It makes the matchup really difficult for Victor. He's not able to get that durability that he is so used to having by now from his Q.
It will be interesting to see this bot lane as ZBJB and I Do Not Land Q are going to find each other, just dance around stuns. I Do Not Land Q, once this though is going to ult in, Angry YZ is coming. The area is down for Victor, but ZBJB forced to flash, but the Akali jumps in. Angry YZ is on a killing spree, and now they might go. The Akali stun's gonna miss again. The flash coming out, and now Parker is here. Dreamy might fall. He is going to stay alive as the Akali falls to the tower, and now the bot lane's here. They're trying to turn onto Parker. The bot lane of the Chancellors considered coming up, might still set a trap for him here in the river as they have the Storm Razor, but that is going to be the end of the fight. I believe 2 for 1 across the board in favor of the Chancellors.
Yeah, really huge roam by Parker there, getting the kill onto Camille and providing enough pressure to make sure that Dreamiel lives as Sivir gets blown up in this bot lane.
Mad Fluffy Cat unfortunately not able to spell shield anything of use, and now CK Nature might be the target. Trying to get on to the Thresh is hooked, but just brings the Leona in closer. Is going to get another Zenith Blade, but isn't able to take him down. The shutdown gold goes over to Snakeskin, and they respond with a 2v2 of their own.
Yeah, a really huge double kill, getting the shutdown gold for Snakeskin. A beautiful hook, just catching onto the Sivir, not getting spell shielded, and just blowing her up. As the Centaurs look to position on the Dragon here, 4 members bot side, no one to contest it. It looks like it's just pretty free for them.
Yeah, this will be a Mountain Drake, which we did see a bit of a buff in this early levels. Is just now Parker having such a much better game on the Darius this time around. 10 CS down, but 2-0-2 and pressure in the top lane is what the Chancellors need.
Yeah, 10 CS, but almost 4 bars plating in his pocket completely makes up for that, and then some. He is just so much bigger than Cyrelli's. He pulls him in.
Yeah, Aurelia's gonna try and get the ultimate down. The bleed will tick down. Probably won't be enough on your Destiny. Should barely stay alive as Camille goes for the mid lane. Is gonna get stunned up by the Victor though, and Dreamy is running away. ZVJB is here. Akali has jumped in. The ultimate lands onto the Akali. The Camille not going to be able to do enough as I do not land Q has fallen. Angry YZ is in Shroud, but it probably will still be death for the Akali trying to run away. Dreamy gets it with one more, and your Destiny is barely alive. A couple of tower shots falling. Meanwhile, the ultimate from Leona is going to miss onto Snakeskins, allowing the Lucian to jump away. The hook is going to return the damage, but that might not have been what Snakeskins wanted. The Zenith Blade's going to come through. The heal comes out. The ultimate is being tanked by Mad Fluffy Cat. A beautiful spell shield stops the hook. Now your Destiny in the top lane gets the ignite onto Parker, but it will probably not be enough. Another kill goes down. The fight continues though as Mad Fluffy Cat is taken down by Snakeskins, and now CK Nature should be next here. The Leona does not get hooked. Abner Shin just barely misses it. All in all, massive fights around the map. First tower very close to falling top lane, and the Chancellors keep their 4K lead.
Yeah, the bot lane for the Chancellors not going too hot. A lot of hooks landing. Abnerson playing amazingly, but every other lane is going really great for them. Dreamiel starting to scale up 2-1-3, able to contest the Akali now. 2-0-3 Darius in the top lane, and a 5-2-6 Jungle Sejuani from ZBJB, carrying his team so hard right now in every fight, making plays across the map. Lucian Thresh just barely getting the first tower before the Chancellors means they will get that first tower bonus. However, the first tower bonus was nerfed this patch. It's not as game-breaking as last time, so the Chancellors aren't as sad as they were before about the outcome of that.
Yeah, it is a little unfortunate that that's what that fight led to, because they were in such good position to get that first brick themselves, but they still control a lot of the map, still 3k gold up, and they control top half of the map, which could be big for that Rift Herald if they want to go towards it. The game seems to have stabilized for a second, so now we can take stock of the state of the game, and as you said, the Chancellors starting to get a lot of their power spikes.
Darius, very importantly, on that Trinity Force. Stormrazor completed in the bot lane, Abyssal Mask completed in the mid lane. Abyssal Mask can get so much harder for the Akali to kill Dreamiel here. Gonna mean that Dreamiel can contest her a lot more than before, especially since Akali hasn't completed her first item yet. As Darius roams into the mid lane, there's no Twilight Shroud for Akali.
Yeah, Angry YZ gonna miss the jump over the wall as well. Get taken pretty low here. Parker might look for it. The rest of the team was there. Mad Fluffy Cat even ulted, maybe looking for the chase down, but they're just gonna be content with the mid tower, as that will be all three of them. The stun is going to hit onto your Destiny. He is now the target, gets pulled back in. Camille trying to isolate, but is going to get ignited and taken down as well. Leona picking up another kill. Parker on a killing spree. Two towers gonna fall in the mid lane, and this might not be done
Maybe a
from
third,
the
I don't know.
Chancellors.
Yeah, oh, just an absolute pick into a Chancellors, turns into Leona ulting, getting even more picks. 3 towers going down from the Centaurs as the Chancellors, 5-man strong, just melt this mid lane. They're gonna actually greed for the inhibitor. Greed might be the best word for it though, as UR Destiny and Camille spawn in 2 seconds here. They might be able to run out a hook lands onto the Darius.
Yeah, they might try and go for this. Angry YZ is going to get pulled out of the Twilight Shroud, though. He's going to get taken
blown up
down.
so fast.
Is still alive as he runs away. We thought it was Greed. Instead, they pick up Angry YZ. They have an inhibitor at 16 minutes, and Toxic Gerbil, the lead is 6K.
That is massive. 6K at 16. That's where you start really making desperate plays if you're the Centaurs, just trying to make anything work. But just everyone from the side of the Chancellors is just so fat. Even the Sivir, their worst performing player right now, can still just put out so much damage, 115 CS, keeping completely on pace, matching Lucian's items pretty effectively. There's just not a whole lot, there's just no advantages really for the side of the Centaurs to get work with. This is where you look for those Hail Mary plays, just the desperate 5-man strats that maybe get you the picks, maybe get you that 700 shutdown on the Darius, or the 600 shutdown on the Victor, but when you have an inhibitor down, it's so hard to group up and make those plays happen, because you always need someone answering that pressure. And as we see, 3 people taking so long to deal with 1 super minion, it's going to be so hard for the Chancellors here.
Yeah, this was about the point in the game, last game, where the Chancellors made their attempted comeback, but they were never this far down. That inhib down for the Centaurs in the mid lane could be massive. The Mountain Drake evened up now is another key tool that the comeback never, or the Chancellors never really had in game number 1. They were down 2 Infernals.
Yeah, Mountain Drake, honestly, probably the best dragon, better than an Infernal for the Chancellors here, just because they want to push their lead. They don't want to scale up and get that Infernal value. They just want that early extra damage to towers, so they can just keep pushing down all these objectives. We can see them already just grouping as 5, roaming from lane to lane, and just taking out towers, because the Centaurs just cannot fight back.
Yeah, bottom lane, tier 2 towers going to fall. The hook's going to miss, but the Darius hook does not miss as Admiral Shin is taken down. Mad Puppy Cat picks up the kill. Your Destiny is going to be next. Doesn't get too much, and now Angry YZ is in the pool of the Chancellors. A double kill for Mad Fluffy Cat on the tail end of that, and the flash, not enough from I Do Not Land Q. It is going to be the second inhib tower under fire. This should be a second inhibitor at 18 minutes going down.
Yeah, this is the one where you have the 5-man forfeit. I really don't see a way from the Centaurs in this game, as it looks like the Chancellors are going to push to end. Irelia still down for 5, and Akali for 10. They get 1 Nexus Tower, looking for a second.
We're going to see the attempted defense, but Snakeskin falls immediately. I Do Not Land Q's health bar disappears. The Leona does fall, but in 19 minutes, the statement game coming back from the Chancellors, as we will go to a decisive game number 3 in this grand final.
Yeah, a sub 20-minute victory, taking out the Nexus for the Chancellors. An incredibly decisive victory, proving people who doubted them after that game 1 so wrong. Sejuani, just really the story of the game, 18 out of 22 kill participation, only not being there for 4 kills means she put in so much work. ZBJB just carrying every lane, getting everyone ahead and winning the jungle matchup. Just an absolute crucial member in winning that game. You see the gold on the other champions, they're the ones that got the kills, but don't be fooled, ZBJB is the one who won that game for the Chancellors.
Yeah, it really was impressive. But now, guys, we're going to take a short break. Do not go anywhere, because we have the decisive game number 3 coming up next. Welcome back, everyone, to the grand finals of the Connecticut region of EGFH. And we are into game number 3. And Toxic, instant reaction, but this time from the Centaurs, as they are back on blue side for this game number 3 and take the victor away.
Yeah, taking away Dreamiel's pocket pick, his secret weapon. Uh, didn't perform amazing early on into the Akali, but that is a hard match of a Victor. And once he started scaling up, the Victor did perform really well. Vlad, another pick Dreamiel has played a lot of, so some targeted bans coming out against the mid laner for the Chancellors.
And we talked about this kind of off stream before we came back from break. Toxic subs coming in for the Centaurs as Kanade G into the top lane, their semi-finalist top laner back in the lineup, but your Destiny moving down to the jungle.
Yeah, an interesting switch. I don't know how it's gonna work out. Jungle is definitely a role that you need to be really confident you're going to play well on. So we'll have to see if your Destiny can smoothly transition between the two roles here. Aatrox and Jax banned out again for the Chancellors. Still just really scared after that game one, but the bans worked well for them last time. They were able to prevent the 1-3-1 from really getting started. So we'll see if they can have another dominant game this time.
Yeah, and immediately the pickup of Thresh for Abner Shin and a Kled pickup
Yeah,
from Parker.
yeah. Another early game all in style bruiser for Parker yielded amazing results last game. They're trying to replicate those results this game as the Leona is picked up against the Thresh for CK Nature this time. Uh, Graves, a champion we haven't seen yet, I think is incredibly strong, especially with the new Dark Harvest. So we'll have to see how your Destiny can perform on that pick.
Yeah, and Snakeskin maybe looking at picking up this guy. So the first time in this draft,
No
we've seen no
Lucian.
flex picks
Yeah,
and no Lucian. So really, the Centaurs, they're saying this is their season. They're changing everything up. Is Sivir still the response, or now do you go Lucian if you're the side of the Chancellors?
I don't know if Mad Fluffy Cat plays Lucian. Every time I've seen him, he's been on very hard scaling, power farming champions. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went back to something like the Sivir. I don't know if he really has a Lucian, but he could always pull it out and show me what he's got. As Dreamiel picks up the Victor, or wow, the Vagar. Close. um,
Yeah, it was like they heard you because they were talking about hard farm scaling champions, and then
yeah,
immediately locking over
Vagar.
Vigar.
Yeah,
And Darius banned away. I
they're
actually like
banning
that.
Darius out. All right.
Already having the Kled pick up, it is one of those matchups that can be difficult for the Kled, especially if you get knocked off your mount.
Mhm.
It can really struggle.
Yeah, you fall off your mount, but you're still bleeding. You just get dunked. You don't have a chance to mount back up. Definitely a very strong pick into Kled. So makes sense that they would ban that out to give their Kled a better matchup. Katarina being banned, that's a very feast or famine champion that they are scared of. And there's the Sivir ban coming out from the Centaurs, just like I was saying, something Mad Fluffy Cat seems pretty at home on.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. The Zillion ban, I wonder if that was just a quick misconsideration as Zaya is going to be the login for that AD carry.
Yeah,
And
a support already picked from the Chancellors. You're right.
mid lane already picked, so it's not even the
Mhm.
Zillion flex, but this Zaya, I like it, Toxic. It is a lane that can be fine. Once you hit post 6, you are safe because you're ultimate, but Lissandra, technically, I'm going to say that's a flex pick. Technically, and I might be
Technically,
proven right
you might be
because
right,
that's a
actually. That's
Yasuo.
Yasuo. Could be a Yasuo top, somebody trying to counter the aggression from the Kled, but Lysandra does have a very good matchup in the Kled. She can just root him and walk away from that bear trap on a rope, meaning she can just make pretty free, safe trades. She can ult Kled's burst when he goes in for her, try to wait out for backup to arrive. So it could be very strong for the Lysandra to counterpick the Kled. The flip side, though, is that if Lysandra does make like one misstep, she's not the tankiest. Even with Aftershock, she's really not the tankiest. So Kled can just blow her up and punish her for her mistakes.
Yeah, we'll really have to see how this goes. I also want to talk about the Sejuani being locked back in for ZBJB. Doesn't necessarily have the greatest time early against
Yeah,
a Graves, but can gank maybe a little better than your Destiny here. So we'll have to
yeah.
see. ZBJB had a MVP level performance on that Sejuani in game number 2 to get us here. Does history repeat itself?
I don't know. We'll definitely have to see how it plays out. But if it's anything like last game, where ZBJB just made those ganks top lane and got the huge plays for the Darius to get Darius fed, Kled does the same thing Darius does. Once he starts getting rolling, it's so impossible to shut him down that ZBJB is really going to be looking to go up there and make those plays happen.
I also don't necessarily, when we're looking at the Centaurs here, I don't know how much I like the Yasuo setup here. I mean, Thresh can obviously get some setup with a well placed play, but
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of things to set up Yasuo.
It's really not a wombo comp. It's just sort of Yasuo's going to do his own thing, try to split push, and try to set himself up. Though with Cleanse, he is missing out on a lot of kill pressure, and he does need it, or else he's just going to get baby caged or glacial prisoned and die. But it does mean he doesn't have that ignite. So Veigar might be able to play a little bit more aggressively and not be as afraid of just dying to the Yasuo as he might be if the Yasuo did have ignite.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting to see that Vigar Dreamy L didn't have the best time in game number 1 and kind of a similar stylistic lane with a very aggressive Angry White Z champion. This could still spell danger for the Vigar because that cleanse can be used very aggressively
It
from Angry
can,
YZ.
definitely. Um, no, the cleanse is definitely a very aggressive owner. It lets you break out of the baby cage, keep running down the Veigar. His like main peel, self peel tool, pretty mitigated. So we'll have to see how that mid lane plays out. Potentially very volatile, especially if Graves gets off a good gank. Veigar probably gonna have to blow his flash or just get run down. In the bot lane, no spell shield this time is crucial to make a note of because Abner Shen hit like every hook, and a lot of them got spell shielded, but that can't happen this time. So if he keeps up the same hook accuracy, it could be incredibly devastating for this Saya. She could just get blown out of her lane, especially because Thresh's hook flay combo applies 2 stacks of plasma for the Kaisa. So in a way, Thresh almost does more damage because he's paired with the Kaisa.
Yeah, and those early level 6 can be so volatile because, as you said, Zaya, no way to get out of Thresh until level 6, really. I think a lot of this early game could depend on these junglers. Where does your Destiny go? Where does ZBJB go? And what lanes are they really prioritizing? Because Vigar, hard scaling, but Zaya Kled is probably your mid game response for the Chancellors.
Yeah, I will say, Windwall into Veigar, disgusting. Uh, you block that ultimate, that's 1,500 damage probably. You've just saved your ally from. Uh, so Yasuo could potentially just really shut down the Veigar if he gets those well-timed wind walls and really make Dreamyell have a bad time.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see as we get done with the spectator delay. And for the last time this season for the Connecticut region, we will be loading into the Rift.
And we get a Dark Harvest. We did it.
We do, and it's your destiny on the Graves. Probably the expected place that you would see the Dark Harvest in this matchup
Yeah,
because we've
definitely.
seen Angry YZ go conquer on this Yasuo previously. He really likes that rune.
No, I definitely would rather have a Conquer on my Yasuo than a Dark Harvest. He's definitely the only champion it really makes sense to take Dark Harvest on. Some people have been taking it on Veigar, trying to get that extra burst, but the reality is, if you're proccing Dark Harvest with someone on Veigar, they're probably just dead anyway. So you'd rather have that Glacial Augment to get that amazing utility that it'll provide him.
Yeah, and we'll really just have to see as we are on to the Rift. We saw a very explosive level 1 last time around. Kind of similar compositions.
Looks like they're going for a pretty similar level 1 here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We do see Abner Shin kind of watching the route that the Centaurs took themselves to get in, and it might just be scouting missions
Yeah,
from
looks like it's
both
just going to
teams.
be battle lines. Neither team wanting to approach. Both just really cautious of the other walking up, and as top laners head back to their lanes, it looks like no action is going to break out, sadly.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. We've talked about this early game a lot. It's it's an explosive early game in different lanes for the each teams. Because I don't know about you, Toxic, but if I see Dreamy going aggressive onto Angry YZ in anything resembling the early game, it might be a sign of the game for the Centaurs.
Yeah, if Dreamy L starts pulling ahead, it could be really problematic for Angry YZ. Yasuo champion you really don't want to be behind on. Once you start losing that kill pressure, your champion's not all that scary anymore, and you're really relegated to low quality split pushing at that point.
Now, it is something to keep in mind from this series. Blue side has won both games so far. They've been kind of back and forth games in game number 1, and then we saw the dominating lead and performance in game number 2 from the Chancellors. This has the feelings that if the Chancellors get ahead, we may be in for some deja vu.
Yeah, both teams picking very snowball heavy comps. Scaling probably in the favor of the Centaurs just because of Graves and Yasuo and Kaisa, but even then, I'm not even too excited to say they outscale because the Chancellors have Sejuani, Vhagar, and Xayah, so it really is a lot of it gonna come down to who gets those early leads and who starts putting tempo out on the map first.
Yeah, level 2's hit for the bot lane of the Chancellors first. They've got the push in. We saw something very similar happen to the Chancellors in game number 1, and now they're trying to get some revenge a little bit here as maybe the quietest early game we've had this series, Toxic. Both sides just happy to farm, happy to take just what they can get, and that wind wall proving useful as you saw already. Angry YZ taking the tower shot to even the trade out, but this is what Yasuo can provide.
Yeah, it's a little funny that 3 minutes in we're calling quiet early game. Just sort of goes to show how action-packed the other games have been as the gank comes out mid lane.
Yeah, JB is looking for it. His flash comes out, the cleanse comes out as well. Angry YZ, no summoners left, but should get out on flashing red health. Meanwhile, Kanade and Parker are gonna spar a little bit in the top lane. Good first gank from ZBJB though in the mid lane.
Yeah, no kill coming out of it, but both of Yasuo's summoners mean he's going to be a very easy target the next time around, and it means he's going to be forced to recall, miss some farm, get some bad timing, and give Vhagar a pretty free recall of his own so he doesn't miss those things himself.
And ZBJB and Your Destiny also running into each other in the top half of the jungle, so they know where the Graves is, and ZBJB should know that Krugs are gone on top side. You laughed about earlier. We're only 4 minutes into this game. It's only a 100 goal difference. This is, at this point, still the closest early game and the quietest early game we've had this series.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. 4 minutes in, I'm sure an explosive play is brewing somewhere. We're gonna have some action. 4 minutes, the game being even, it's a little early to call it a slow game. So we're just gonna keep waiting, watch the trades go down. No real farm leads coming down for either side yet. Yasuo, despite being forced back, 4 CS actually up for himself, meaning he's just hitting more farm than the Vhagar is. And just, yeah, really close.
One of the hardest things with the Vhagar, in my opinion, Toxic, is trying to set up those queues, set up that stacking, can sometimes cause you to miss quite a bit of CS if you haven't done it recently, or if you don't quite know your ranges. As Abner Shin, this was a lane that we last saw being pushed into tower, but that zone pressure from his Thresh continues to be massive.
Yeah, Abner Shin just standing so far ahead, zoning so hard. The Mad Fluffy Cat and CK Nature just really afraid to walk up, so afraid of all these hooks that have been landing in both of these last 2 games.
And the thing to note here also from Your Destiny is we kind of wanted to see how he would do coming into the jungle, and on this Graves has been able to get into the Sejuani's jungle, take away some of the farm, but now Kanade might be in trouble. The claw is going to be enough, but the flash in from ZBJB, this is going aggressive on a Kled that is unmounted, and it's just going to be a clean walkout, a lost summoner trade in the end.
Yeah, a really interesting play. No follow-up available from the Kled. Lissandra really great at just getting away from ganks with all of her CC and mobility. Sejuani, ZBJB blowing his flash, getting nothing out of it. Graves starting to build a farm lead in the jungle because of that failed gank going down.
Yeah, and we'll just really have to see. We were joking about it, but now as we're approaching the 6-minute mark, this really is starting to kind of be
Pretty
the
slow,
most
yeah.
even early game we've seen, and I think both teams are happy with it as Lysandra has gone back to get a first time Catalyst. So the teams are just taking their farm right now. We do see that CS lead
In the
slightly
bot lane.
finding in the bot lane.
Yeah, I was trying to bring that up. 11 CS, something like 20 CS on the recall. Zaya with a BF sword to Kai'Sa's boots, and a longsword and a cull. Really much stronger for Zaya. If an all-in breaks out, I definitely give her the edge in the fight.
Yeah, and we might see something happen mid.
Tornado
Angry
missed it.
YZ misses the tornado. That's going to be enough to probably dissuade the fight. Still looking for it, though. Just gets the Conqueror proc off for good measure. Dreamy is doing at least decent back in the farm in this lane. Stacking, I believe, was almost at 40 stacks last time I saw it. So as we see ZBJB and Your Destiny finding each other in the jungle, this might be advantage Graves. Who is going to be able to get the red buff? It looks like it went over to Your Destiny on a great steal.
Yeah, Your Destiny playing jungle a lot better than ZBJB this game. ZBJB had the one gank mid lane that got the summoners, but he wasn't able to follow up and capitalize, and now Yasuo's summoner basically back up with nothing gained for ZBJB's time, as Graves builds a 10 CS lead in the jungle, obviously jungle CS being worth more than lane CS, so the 10 CS lead being worth more than it looks like on paper. Graves up a level over his opponent, really just farming up and playing a lot smarter this game, taking farm away from ZBJB.
Yeah, and we see the gold lead still is only about 300 to 400. The first turret plate is going to fall top lane, and that's kind of showing you the difference in the wave clear between these two champions, as Parker nearly every time we look is either off of Skarl or on tower.
Yeah. A plating going over to Lysandra, no objectives taken for her, just able to push in the wave so much that she gets the plating for free. As Graves pressures top lane and forces Kled back, being his tower's gonna get really low.
Yeah, the Parker getting taken very, very low here is trying to at least trade some damage. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dreamy and Angry YZ are at it again. But the tornado once again misses, keeps the Vigar alive.
Almost another bar of plating going down the top lane for Lysandra. Up 18 CS, completely nullifying the CS lead in the bot lane, actually. Making it so that, just off of farm and neutral objectives, the Centaurs are up 600 gold already. No kills, just farm.
Yeah, and we're really seeing the mid lane as well. It's just been hovering about 8 farm, but still, that hovering is big as Cannot.
There's 2 tower shots here.
2 tower shots forced to ult.
Fatal mistake, potentially.
Your Destiny is here, though. Parker might get jumped on, is going to stay mounted for a little bit, but is going on to Your Destiny. Gets the first blood kill.
A huge outplay for Parker.
Yeah, didn't try and go for anything more, though, as now Dreamy might be considering something here onto Angry YZ, but not going to get stunned up at all. ZBJB is here. The ultimate is going to come in from Angry YZ. The flash out from Dreamy. The cleanse is enough, and so far, Angry YZ stayed alive. Will trade 1 for 1, but the kill just said Juani.
Yeah, very important. Yasuo's ult moving where he is, causing ZBJB's Q to miss. Otherwise, DreamyL probably would have been able to live that extra damage, killing Angry YZ. So a very fatal misplay from ZBJB, even though it looked really small, getting DreamyL killed, giving the 1 for 1 in the exchange instead of the clean 1 for nothing.
It is important to note, though, with those 2 for 1 across the map and the first blood, the gold lead has swung ever so slightly, only 200 or 300, but it is in the Chancellor's favor, as now at the 10-minute mark, this is definitely the closest early game of the series.
Yeah, no, it's now, we can officially him 10 minutes in. Just a very close, really close trades going across the map. The top lane play could have gone either way, same thing with the mid lane play. Just incredibly close the game on a nice edge as we keep going toward that 15-minute mark where a lot of action ends up starting to go down.
Yeah, and it was a good spot out on the bottom half of the map by the Chancellors, as they knew that Graves was down there. They're gonna look onto Kanade though, as the D-mount is gonna come through. That is gonna drop tower aggro, and that is probably going to be all for that gank, as ZVJB and Parker just running away. The flash in from the Lysandra. The ultimate's going to go down. The stun comes through, though the damage hasn't come through yet. Angry YZ is here. That is going to be a stopwatch to keep the Lysandra alive. 2 for 0, it looks like, as Angry YZ picks up a double kill, and the Mountain Drake goes over to the Centaurs.
Yeah, Kled mounting up, but not actually able to get the Scarl health before the Yasuo Tornado takes him down. If he was able to get onto Scarl, get that extra health, he probably could have turned that fight. And that was very close to being a devastating 2 for 0 in the top lane favoring the Chancellors. But milliseconds saved the Centaurs and gave them a 2 for 0 of their own.
Yeah, and that's so big. This gold lead is so small that it's swinging wildly with every change. 1.5k gold now for the Centaurs, and your Destiny taking a couple of tower shots is low, not quite low enough for Dreamy without, enough AP and stacks to do much about it. But this Vigar is okay with where the game is right now, unless Angry YZ continues to pop off.
He's okay in his own lane, I guess. He's here as 1-1, but the Yasuo was 3-1-0. All of his team's kills. One of the best champions to have all your kills on. Someone who can really start running away with the game once he starts getting that lead. Angry YZ is going to be incredibly scary. After we saw his performance on a split pusher, Aatrox in game 1, seeing a very similar thing start to happen this game should have the chance to shake him a little bit.
Yeah, but your Destiny gonna get jumped on. The Kled ultimate comes through, and that is enough for ZVJB to pick up the kill. Angry YZ is gonna take a tower shot, and that might be enough. They're just gonna look like they're gonna get away. Now, the last time we saw Angry YZ's Yasuo was in the semifinals, game number 1, and it popped off maybe more than we saw the Aatrox. So this is a comfort pick for the Centaurs mid lane.
Yeah, that's a very scary prospect for the Chancellor, seeing it already start. Highest farm in the game except for Xayah. 3-1-0, really building up a lead for himself. As we see in the mid lane, already winning trades against the Veigar, shoving the Veigar under his tower, getting the advantageous trades anyway. As top lane tower is not looking too healthy, and if Lysandra can take that, she'll be very happy.
Yeah, and we were talking, this is this other sub from this game. Kanade, the top laner during the semifinals, but has not played this series yet, and really making the substitutions look really smart from the Centaurs, as both, yes, your Destiny has died twice, but the impact on the map is unquestioned.
Yeah, your Destiny maybe not putting in the most work for his team, but Kanade really dismantling this Kled in the top lane. Kled not able to make any plays onto Lysandra. She's just able to get away from every fight, take the first tower just off raw pressure and shoving advantage with that demolish, giving her a really big gold lead over the Kled.
Yeah, and
1,500 gold just herself.
And that's most of the gold lead when you really look at it. I mean, I'm sure YZ is also up in gold, just matched by this bot lane, and that's something we haven't had a chance to look at this bot lane really yet in this game. Toxic 30 CS lead to Mad Fluffy Cat, gonna get knocked down to in the 25-24 range here, but still, this bottom lane is going to plan for the Chancellors. The rest of the map just needs to hold.
Yeah, and the rest of the map is definitely not holding. If the Xayah can scale up, as Mad Fluffy Cat really likes to do, it's gonna be how they're gonna have to play out the game and get back into it, but the rest of the map really falling behind. The junglers having an advantage, but ZVJB not able to capitalize much on his advantage. That's a huge solo kill. Yasuo going in too deep, getting stunned, cleansing once it's too late, and eating all of Veigar's damage anyway, getting absolutely blown up, and handing over a huge shutdown to the Veigar. Exactly what they needed to put them back in the game. Down only 1,000 gold now for the Chancellors.
And I know that stun is hard to position perfectly from Dreamy, but that was almost pixel perfect positioning. He caught Angry YZ on the tail end of the dash with it.
No,
and now
really
we might see, though, Dreamy might be in trouble as your Destiny's going to go in for it. The Sejuani ult is going to come through. The teleport is coming in. That can't be canceled. The Lysandra is going to return and get a kill onto Dreamy. The Kled has ulted. They're trying to go in onto this Lysandra. No ult available, no claw available at the moment either. The flash comes through. Parker isn't able to flash in time, and now Kaisa is here, maybe trying to answer, is going to dive in. Mad Bubbly Cat picks up the kill, but meanwhile the Kaisa is going ham in the mid lane as Kanade Z picked up the kill. 2 for 3 across the map.
Yeah, 2 for 3, and then another tower mid lane as well, trading for bot lane. Probably in the favor of the Centaurs, getting that extra kill.
Oh, the flash in from Nature though, sorry to cut you off. The ultimate comes through and Mad Fluffy Cat answered back. Whoop trade.
CK Nature just knowing what he can do. No hesitation, just going for the flash scenic blade, hitting it, and blowing up the Kaisa. Really huge 2-0 167 farm for the Kaisa, with sitting with the most gold in the game, actually, on the Kaisa. No, I'm wrong. Lysandra has the most gold in the game, but the Kaisa's a close second, meaning she's going to be pretty scary as we go into this mid-game. She is definitely going to be a priority target that the Centaurs are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, as we see just Dreamy once again trying to get jumped on. That is a second Mountain Drake also going down. Dreamy is in trouble now, is forced to flash away, gets so much damage onto your Destiny, isn't going to be able to pick up the kill. ZBJB is here though, can't find anything though because of the Thresh, Lantern, Shield, and Vigar getting picked off, and a second Mountain Drake in all of that going to the Centaurs.
Yeah, really overly aggressive from Dreamy L, just overextending. They don't have vision in the river. They just get collapsed on. Not a whole lot Dreamy L's able to do about it. ZBJB not able to get the counter kill, and Lysandra still pressuring top lane. Such a strong split pusher with that demolish she can take in her runes. So much wave clear, and Kled just really can't stop her.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be a mid-game of dueling carries here, Toxic, as this Lysandra just splitting. Meanwhile, Mad Fluffy Cat trying to do work for the Chancellors, but the gold lead has stayed about 2k. They've done a decent job of holding it there, mid lane being under fire. But it's going to be hard for Xayah to out-carry Lysandra, as Kanade might be in trouble here. Going to try and use the blast gun, but takes ZBJB, and now Mad Fluffy Cat is here. They get the root, they get the chain CC, and that is the shutdown. And now Riptail...
Xayah.
Yeah, Riptail maybe in the sights. This is the first time this series, Toxic, that we've seen it, and it is a just giving up from the Centaurs. They don't even want to contest.
Yeah, Graves positioning contest, but he's just way too late. No one able to stop the Rift Herald. 4 people up there as a Z-Blade goes onto the Thresh and just picks him off. ZBJB maybe overcommitting his ult there, but just anything to secure that pick. Get more gold onto this Xayah, get more gold onto your carries, and really closing the gold difference as Herald is actually getting dropped mid lane. If this tower goes down, the Chancellors will actually be even, if not up in gold. A huge stun.
Yeah, but a huge win wall as well from Dreamy, as now Dreamy is in trouble. Kanade is in the middle of the team, is going to be able to use the Zhonya's, and now you see the Graves ultimate come through, does so much damage. Joshua has the ability to ult, and CK Nature is going to fall. Mad Fluffy Cat is still alive, but is going to fall. It is a double kill for the Oswald. The shutdown gold to Kaisa. The tower fell, but at what cost?
Disaster side of the Chancellors. Getting too greedy, going for picks they could not finish off, and they get collapsed on. Lysandra going in absolutely huge, killing the Veigar instantly, CCing the rest of the team, setting up the Yasuo and his 2-man tornado to just clean up the rest. The Centaurs taking 1 tower, looking for a second. There's no one here to defend the second tower. It's getting shredded down by the 2 Mountain Drakes, and they're going to get 2. They're looking for the inhibitor, and they just might get it.
Yeah, Angry YZ is a little forward, is going to get stunned up by the tail end of the Vigar. It is missing though. Here is the return. Angry YZ is going to get stunned up. Snakeskins falls. Now the Lysandra is here, but gets stunned up by the Leona, and now the Lysandra should go down. Double kill. Dreamy is still alive. Can ZBJB catch up? No. The Lysandra survives, but 3 for 0 in favor of the Centaurs. It's only 20 minutes, but I think they may be considering this Baron.
Both teams just chain throwing into each other, greeting so hard back and forth as the Chancellors do in fact look like they're going to go for this Baron. if they have the DPS for it, everyone from the side of the Centaurs went back. This Baron looks like it is going to go down in time. 4 members shredding it down, 5 members coming in with Leona. If they get this Baron, they're gonna tie up the gold and have Baron to look to take down objectives. Looking a lot like game 1, but maybe the Chancellors learn from their mistakes and they actually are able to keep the lead that this Baron starts to bring them.
And the big thing in all that as well, Toxic, the mid lane inhibitor did not fall. There
That's
will
so
not
important.
be super minions coming in. And I was angry YZ looked like he was going to do it again. In that first mid lane fight, way back like 2 minutes ago, he had a beautiful wind wall that I believe stopped Dreamy's ultimate of everything he could have stopped. Looked like he was going to do it again, but this time the rest of the Chancellors being able to respond. And you mentioned the gold lead. It's only 1.5k. We are right back to a nice edge game.
Yeah, I mentioned before, Xayah, despite being on the losing team, most gold in the game. An absolute hard carry for the side of the Chancellors, with plenty of tools letting her carry. She has a huge front line from the Sejuani and the Kled, and tons of utility coming out from the Leona and the Veigar. If the fights are organized, CC heavy, the Xayah can just absolutely set up her feathers, get ginormous pullbacks, and destroy the Centaurs if the Centaurs are not able to collapse onto her.
I will have to say the Chancellors are probably feeling like RNG deja vu as they're down 2 mountains, and it's stolen away from the Graves ultimate. Your Destiny saying that is still our dragon.
Not even a smite. ZBJB with his smite up, just saying, we have this secured. I don't need to smite this. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to save the next fight. The Graves ult coming across, stealing the Ocean Drake. And as you were about to say, Ocean Drake not really what they wanted anyway, but you'd still like to have it.
Yeah, now they're going to look to Caesar at the mid lane. The Cleanse already out from Angry YZ if they can go in onto it. The flash in from the Lysandra going in for it. They do pick up one as the Sejuani is down. The Kai'Sa's in the back line though doing the damage. Veigar is still untouched as well. It's a triple kill for Dreamy. Still alive as now Mad Fluffy Cat is going to stay alive as well. 4 for 3 in favor of the Chancellors, and they're going to keep pushing.
An absolutely huge E for the right there. Graves goes in and blows her up actually. Overcommitting. The Graves just pulling the trigger, going for the flash play.
Yeah, your Destiny saving possibly so much there for the Centaurs as the mid tower doesn't fall. Only one Baron buff still up now. There's a lot of gold now, though, in that Veigar's pocket.
Yeah, importantly, a huge shutdown going over to the Graves, too. Giving himself 600 gold for killing the Xayah. Getting Xayah off the map, stopping her from getting more CS, getting even stronger. 624, she really is the hope of the Chancellors right now in these fights.
Yeah, Veigar now also on 3 items, though, as well, when you consider the Spooky Ghost. But it is starting to get to that point 24 minutes into this game, about a 2k gold lead. There's still a lot of standing gold on the map that the Chancellors can maybe try and get to if they can ever push towards the top lane. The Lysandra is at 3 items as well, though. Can the Chancellors keep this game going? Because Lysandra is just going to continue to be scary.
Yeah, Lysandra really needs to start ulting Xayah in these fights. She's always been really deep in ulting herself, but she's always ended up dying as soon as her ult ends. If she just goes in, ults the Xayah, even if she dies, the Xayah will probably die as well, and that's completely worth it. Xayah is the one really carrying the fights for the side of the Chancellors, so picking her off means the rest of your team can win the fight.
Well, something to note, Veigar is sitting at 198 stacks. Not a whole lot for 25 minutes, but it's really starting to ramp up.
It builds up, yeah.
500 AP right now for Dream.
Yeah. And if you look at his build, that is not a build you'd expect 500 AP worth of damage to be coming at you from. So it really means he can afford, because of his passive, to buy all these utility items that help his team so much in these fights, especially with the Glacial Augment, and then still be able to dish out tons of damage because of all the stacks he gets from his passive, all the free ability power he gets.
Now, we saw in game number 1 a very similar situation here, Toxic. Second Baron up in a minute and a half. That second Baron was pretty much the decisive play of the game for the Centaurs in the first game, and I'm getting very similar vibes that team fight is going to be massive.
I am, in fact, getting similar vibes as well. If the Centaurs get this Baron, it's probably the game. I don't think the Chancellors will be able to get it, and if they get it, but it probably will be an inhibitor, and it'll be a huge lead that'll put them in a very commanding position to win it. So this Baron is going to be the story of the game for the next couple of minutes, as teams try to posture around it, set it up, prepare for it, and then take it and see what they can do with the buff.
It's also very key to note Snakeskins now has the stopwatch available onto this Kaisa and 3 items onto Mad Fluffy Cat, but has that cull still not completed yet. Was kind of a late purchase. This could, when every item could matter in this fight, Toxic, that could be key. And QSS now for Yasuo as well. Angry YZ has 2 ways to get out of these stuns.
Yeah, 2 cleanses. He's really just been eating so much these fights, coming out from the Sejuani and the Veigar. He just really wants to be safe and get that damage in. Once you have the Phantom Dancer and the Infinity Edge, you don't need, like, air quotes, I guess, need more damage per se. So I actually really do like the QSS to help stay alive. His Kled gets hooked, but he's just going to be able to walk away.
Oh, another hook. And now Lissandra is going in, is getting a lot of damage onto the Veigar. The Veigar is down. The Sejuani ultimate is going to miss, and now Angry YZ is onto the Xayah, trying to get the damage, but stunned up. Angry YZ, Mad Fluffy Cat still not able to get too much. It's a double kill for the Kaisa. Make that a team ace. 5 for 1. The Centaurs are pushing for the inhibitor. They don't have minions to try and go for more, but the Baron is live if they just want to take this inhib and go for it.
Yeah, Abner shed huge hooks to keep the Kled locked down as Kanata IG goes deep into the backline, absolutely blows up the entire enemy backline. And I said I want to see Kanata IG ulting the Kaisa, but if everyone but the Kaisa's dead, it's a pretty similar goal, and Kanata IG was able to accomplish exactly that, as he keeps split pushing, and the rest of his team looks to take the Baron for free. Really great macro play, maximizing the objectives they're able to take here.
And from Mad Fluffy Cat on that, Xayah was forced to ult the Angry YZ threat of an ultimate from the Yasuo. So really, there's so many tools to get onto this Xayah that it doesn't. Yes, I would agree. I think Lissandra ulting Xayah is the cleaner path here. But at 5, 2, and 13, whatever Kanata G is doing, keep doing it.
Yeah, Kanata G just decided to ult the Veigar in that fight and just blew him up, which pretty much the same goal as ulting the Kaiser, just absolutely destroy somebody, turn it into a 4v5 before the fight even really starts. Veigar, like, no damage dealt over the course of that fight. It just means that the Centaurs were able to clean it up and just run over the Chancellors.
And key thing to note here, if the game continues at this pace and keeps going till that Elder Dragon, that may be a 5 dragon strong Elder Dragon.
Very well could be. That's really scary, and it means the Elder Dragon is going to be incredibly important for the Chancellors to get, just so that the Centaurs don't get it. The Centaurs, if this game keeps going the way it is, are going to win the game no matter what. So it's really on the Chancellors to make plays that stop the Centaurs. They need to get an all-in fight that works well for them. They can't just keep getting siege and bleeding out like they are right now.
And they might go for it here. So Lissandra going in, is going to get stunned up, is going to get taken down. The shutdown coming out from the Sejuani. This might be the fight they need, as their base is in tatters. They need to go. Your Destiny's going to get stunned. He is going to get taken out. That is 2 kills in favor of the Chancellors. It's not a whole lot, Toxic, but it does save the game for now.
Yeah, it's 2 kills from shutdowns, but they still lose their mid lane inhibitor. There's still 3 members with Baron on the side of the Centaurs, and it just stops the bleeding, but it doesn't do anything proactive. There's nothing the Chancellors can do on the map that lets them abuse being up 3-5. They just need to defend for longer, and that's not what you want to see when you're trying to make it back into the game. There's nothing to come back with. You're just stalling at this point if you're the Chancellors, waiting for something you can actually use to get an advantage and make the comeback actually happen.
And meanwhile, we're seeing from the Centaurs, they're continuing to get tools to stay alive. It is a Banshees and the Zhonya's on the Lissandra. It's the Zhonya's now completed on Snakeskin's Kaisa, and they're just finding more and more ways to be harder to kill.
Yeah, The AP build on Kai'Sa nerfed the Rage Blade, doing worse. Her AP ratio is down, but still, just it's so valuable to be able to buy Zonias on an AD carry. It makes you so hard to kill, especially when the side of the Chancellors want to dive deep and get those picks. Being able to Hourglass on an AD carry is an invaluable tool. That means that Snakeskin with that finish is going to just be so impossible to kill in fights.
Yeah, and we see the Stinger in the build as well, probably going towards that Nashor's Tooth just for all of the attack speed. And it is grim. It's a bit of a turtling situation here from the Chancellors, but what do they need to do, Toxic, to keep that and keep going?
They just need to keep getting fights like the last one they had, preferably engaging before your mid lane inhibitor goes down, but it's really hard to find those engage windows, as once again, just like game one, the Centaurs looking to set up the 1-3-1, so the Chancellors have to lose objectives if they try to make a hard engage. There is no safe play where you don't lose anything for the Chancellors right now, as their inhibitor just goes down for free.
Yeah, that bot inhib is forfeit for this, and it continues to close in here as the net gets tighter and tighter. The hook is going to miss. Dreamy is trying to find something, but here comes the Lissandra. Immediately a flash and the Zonias from the Vigor, but it is still going to get the death. It is a great fight for the Centaurs. They are on to Mad Fluffy Cat is still alive, it has been resurrected, but the team is falling around the AD carry as Mad Fluffy Cat will fall on the fountain, and with it will fall the Chancellor's hopes as the Nexus towers are under fire, and this is the Centaurs.
Yeah,
should be claiming
the game an absolute formality. No one alive for 30 seconds. They just need a wave. They're gonna take down the Nexus tower, and they are going to be crowned the champions for this season.
Yes, indeed. The Nexus will fall, and your EGFH 2018 Fall League of Legends Connecticut region champions are the Woodstock Academy Centaurs.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Really playing the first and second game cleanly, first and third game cleanly, stumbling the second, but they're able to correct their mistakes and have a fairly convincing victory in the third one. A slow early game, but able to just get ahead, close it out, and show that they really did deserve to be crowned the champions for this season.
Absolutely, and a great final, more than we could have hoped for. Such close matches. Any final words for the league season for Connecticut, Toxic Gerbil?
Congratulations to the Centaurs, and congratulations to the Chancellors too. Making it to the finals, placing second in all of Connecticut is very admirable for them too. So I hope, even though they didn't get the win, they still feel good about themselves. As the Chancellors do take first place and feel really good about themselves.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for tuning into this League of Legends Finals with the Woodstock Academy Centaurs taking the 2-1 victory in this final. You can follow us on Twitch and Twitter at official EGF to stay tuned with the remaining games this season. And as we look to the next season, this season would not have been possible without the support of our amazing sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, the New York Excelsior, and Mob Crush. I have been Victor Vic Sharp Watney, and you can find me on Twitter at the Vic Sharp.
And I have been Matthew Toxic Gerbil Merrick, and you can find me on Twitter at Toxic Gerbil. So we're going to be signing off. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next season.
And stay tuned as the Rocket League finals are coming up next, live from Yukon.